Um, Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Edvardsen, otherwise known as Edelwolf, and today we'll have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. st4rk, a AoE2 legend. How are you doing, Mr. st4rk?
Hey man, doing fine. Thanks for the invitation to interview me, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Of course, it's an honor to have you. So, for how long have you been playing Age of Empires?
Man, since long time. I remember my first contact with Age of Empires to be in a trial version of Age of Empires, Age of the Kings, that comes into a magazine, man. Like, it just gives you a CD with a couple games to try out, like trial versions of the games, and I just got this magazine out of some shop and said, okay, let's me try those games. And I suck at all the games, and I suck at less on the Age of Empires. And this was like in 2002. So we are in 2020. We are talking about 18 years ago. 18 fucking years of Age of Empires already, man.
Nearly 2 decades ago.
It's kind of I can't get tired of it. Some players were not even born by the time.
Yeah.
Literally was still shitting his diapers, man, by the time I was making walls already.
Yeah, I was too by that time. Yeah, I'm 22 myself.
Quite young, man. You are also doing this, huh?
Yes. And how old are you?
I'm 29 at the moment.
Okay. And you think you'll be playing for many more years to come? I hope.
Yeah, honestly, I expect so. After so much time, I don't think I'm gonna stop. For sure, there will be times where I will be less like. I won't have so much time to play. I'll have some other stuff to do. I might be working a bit more. I might have to take care of children or something. So I might have less available time to play Age of Empires. But I cannot see myself stopping it fully. I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's good to hear. Now for many more years to come, Age of Empires.
Yep. We are probably going to have some tournaments in a few years for players only with 50 more years. 50-year-old age. We are probably going to have tournaments for players with more than 50-year-old.
Yeah, like
quite some time.
Veterans.
Exactly. Masters League.
Yeah. Yeah, like we had that in chess too. With like the older people, they face off each other.
Exactly, man.
So
I have a lot of groups, man, in Brazil with old players, man. There's a lot of old players, a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Players from back of 2001, 2002. A lot of those guys are back thanks to DE. They're trying out, they're enjoying a total different moment of their lives. And a lot of players with similar stories are back to the game. It's quite nice.
Yeah, could you tell us about some of these players? Like
Sure. I think that most of the guys I'm talking about are the Brazilian ones. Just to put some context, in the years of 2002 to 2004, 2005, we had some tournaments in Brazil, team tournaments in Brazil, because we had a lot of teams on our country. So there's the classic RTS League, hosted by Blackadder in the rtsleague.org. Many of you might know. If you don't know, it's a tournament that has gone for many seasons. You constantly make seasons of Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. But a long time ago, man, we had these tournaments on RTS Games, Brazilian forum, where many teams would take part. So you would have famous teams worldwide from Brazil, KGP, Fox, teams that would often play WCL, play against big teams such as El Clan, such as BSK, and other teams that were probably not known out of Brazil. But a lot of those players are back. We had like at some point I remember that we had 2 leagues. Man. We had a first league for the 32 most qualified teams, and a second league, man, for teams. So it was so many people playing those tournaments and doing it, and many of those guys are back. many of the team members are back. Some guys are back and they just realize that, oh my God, it's just me and one more from my team. Let's join our teams, and they are doing big things, joining like 3 or 4 of those old teams. It's quite nice to see this movement.
And how has the time affected them? Are they worse now than we could remember them, or are they still managing to keep up with the new players?
Yeah. I'm actually getting very surprised because some of those guys did not touch Age of Empires for something like 14, 10 years, more than 10 years, 14, 15 years. And the ones that I remember being very good, they get it so easily, man. It seems like that for some guys it comes so easy. They might not know which secret is better in each stuff. They do not know about the unit tags, about the serialization bonus, but they just had to fight to hit those 2 of those guys these days, and they were using the worst units possible for their civs. And I still took more than 1 hour to meet and St4rk, who is the next O2K2 of nowadays, to beat those guys. So I said, oh my God, we are 1 hour fighting against those guys. They're doing the worst units possible. One of the guys was Malian, and he was doing skirmishers with no bracer. The other was, I can't remember if he was Malian or no, Malian was the first one. Anyway, he was doing cavalry with a civilization that does not have good cavalry, and those guys were playing with skirmishers cavalry, and they actually killed St4rk. I let him suffer a bit, and then we came back in the game and we kept fighting with those guys for like 1 hour. And I'm saying, those guys were supposed to be noobs now, man. How are we struggling against them? So some of those guys are doing quite nice. Obviously, they cannot keep up with time, but as an example, I would say about Capote. He's not Brazilian, he's Argentinian, unfortunately. But he just came back recently, and he's streaming, and I have seen him already beating some actual 2Ks from nowadays, so it's totally different. How he understands the game, it's so different. The bonus, the new stuff, they can get it easily. If those guys want to play competitive, the ones that played before, they can totally do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of new civilizations they have to figure out, and new mechanics of the game.
Even the old ones have changed.
Yeah, like the gods,
for
example.
Those guys are going to get so surprised by the moment they're playing arena and someone just uses a siege tower with crossbows. It's going to be funny.
Yeah, can't imagine. So about mechanics, I noticed I've been following you for a while now and watching you on Twitch, and I also been watching, Viper and Hera and some other big players. But I realized that you were one of the first players to actually adopt to the new system, like the new shift Q. Like when you want to take a new dare, for example, you use the shift key, so that they do it automatically, so that you don't have to manually go over and do it over again. And you also, I see it now again, there's a new mechanic that is new to me, is that you follow the dare. That way you automatically push the dare without having to click it. Is this a new feature, the one following the dare, or is it just me with a noob who hasn't seen it yet?
Oh, the one about the following the deer, I have no idea. I just learned it like 1 week ago. I didn't know either. I was doing this, and some guy that I played with, one of those guys, Thor, who was also from one of those Brazilian teams, kept some time not playing, now he's come back to sync me every day. He's responsible for me losing half of my team games. And he just told me, man, you should use the follow command. Just press C or the follow hotkey that you have on the deer, and you are going to see how much easier it is to lure. And I just loved it, man. My luring skills have improved a lot because I had a lot of difficulties luring the deers. So that's nice. The shift wheel also is very nice to the mechanics, man. I think that if I go back to Vogli, I'm going to have twice idle villagers than I would have on the. It's so great to just test the wheels to start doing some wall, then go to the other, or make the market and go back to wood, finish to make this archer range, and then go to the gold. It's so great to do it because it's something that you have in your mind, and often you might just forget to do it, or later you are probably going to be doing other stuff like microing, some spearmen against the scout, making some new farms, trying to find an ending spot to raid, and we're probably going to forget those guys. So it's very helpful. If you already know that we're just going to use the builder to make an archer range and go back to the gold, having the ability of testing it, it's so great. There's another feature that you didn't mention, but I think that it's a great one, the auto scouting. You might think, oh, but you are using the auto scouting? Not always, but I was able to use it in a competitive setting and won again thanks to that, to be honest. And it was on the Red Bull qualifiers. I didn't qualify the first one, but I did play again against some guys, and we started with 2 horses. And so I just realized that I could just use one horse on the auto scout, so he would start clearing up the map for me, and I used the other manually to scout what my enemy was doing, where he was going to attack. And by the time I was like in Castle Age, which was something like 11 or 12 minutes, since this game is quite fast, we already started with Feudal Age, we already started with more views. I already knew like where were all the extra golds, where were all the relics, and in 3 games, man, I used the strategy of going for the relics as an advantage. Aztecs, for sure, since the relics generate more gold, so the auto scout let me know about all the relics, and I didn't make a single eagle warrior by the time I had to go for the relics. The horses just get it for me for free with the auto scout, and also in a game against the Max, another against Sit-Outs, where I played with the Lithuanians. Since I realized that I wouldn't probably know about the relics, I used them to get those strong knights and paladins with extra attack from them. And thanks to the auto scout, if you look at when I look at on the minimap, on the mark of 10 to 15 minutes, I had everything cleared up. So it can be used in these very word competitive settings, but it's very noob friendly, man, because when you are starting with the game, there are so many things that you're trying to do simultaneously. You are going to often let your scout idle, you are going to often let your builds idle, so if you can just make it automatic, not optimum, but just let the scout running around for you, it's much better. So I think that it's a very noob-friendly improvement for the game. And all those improvements to make our game more modern or more contemporary, I don't even have the word for that, but let's bring Age of Empires to 2020. Let's forget about the mechanics. I don't know if you know that or if you remember that, but in Age of the Kings, before the expansion, before the Conquerors, there was something that you could probably imagine, but let's say that you get like a group of villagers and task them to build a lumber camp. Nowadays, they build a lumber camp. What they do? Obviously, they start picking the wood. Before, it was not like that. You just have to retask some use to the wood, make a lumber camp. They just build a lumber camp and said, okay, I build a lumber camp. I'm gonna slack a bit, take some drink and do nothing. And it's something that it makes no sense. And it has been improved from one version to the other. And you can probably play without thinking about that nowadays. So this kind of improvement is very welcome. I'm often resistant to some of them. I'm a node player, but I honestly have to admit that this is very healthy for the game.
Yeah, Age of Empires is certainly a very complex and hard to get into game, unlike many other games like Fortnite, for example, or Minecraft, which are very easy and basic
exactly.
to get into.
The learning curve is very extensive. It's less intuitive than playing FPS or playing MOBA, like you're saying. The RTS are a bit more complex. And Age of Empires, when you have to manage like 4 resources, a lot of different civilizations, it's even more complex.
Yeah.
Probably that's what makes the game so nice.
Yes, like endless possibilities. It's just one of the things that got me hooked on this game. I played with in the LAN with my brothers, and everyone were doing their own thing. We can all do our own thing. There's no one meta that beats them all. There's endless metas or strategies you can go for.
Exactly, and I have to say, with nowadays the balance of Definitive Edition, I often keep asking myself, what's the best civ for this map? Whenever I'm playing some maps, man, I end up picking like 4 or 5, 6, even 7, or even more different civs. I'm pretty unsure of what civ is the best for each map right now. It's so balanced, there are so many possibilities, so many strategies that you can make. Age of Empires gives you this freedom to build an empire. That's why it's so cool. It's like the Minecraft of our age, you know.
Yeah.
Kids these days have the Minecraft, they can build their worlds there, but in our time we didn't have it. So you either use some Legos or you go for Age of Empires and build whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's also this feeling. A lot of players do not play multiplayer. They enjoy the single player. They enjoy building it. Just as a curiosity, my father plays Age of Empires. He plays games with population of 75, and he just plays like half an hour a day. He took like a month to complete a game. He makes games of 10 or 12 hours against the AI, and he enjoys it. Everyone enjoys the game in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Very funny to see a lot of players enjoying it in a different manner.
That's very interesting. And you talked about tournaments, and you mentioned the 75 population. That used to be like the standard before, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's something that's interesting. When I started playing multiplayer, no, it was actually the 200 population already. But in Age of Empires 1, for example, the population cap was 50, if I'm not mistaken. And on the trial version and on the standard configurations of Age of Empires, Age of Empires 2, you come with population 75. I was thinking about that. It's probably because before, if you just try to allow everyone to have like 200 pop, many computers would crash, man. The Pentium 100s were not ready for having big battles and 4 versus 4 and things like that. So nowadays we have no problem with that. But it's interesting. Technology helped our empires to grow a bit more. Even Imperial Age game is developing a lot more. If you compare how teams would play an Imperial Age matchup from a few years ago and now, there are so many more things that you can do since you are not having so much computing problem, since your machine is going to handle it well. Most of them.
I didn't know that was the reason. But now I do.
Might be interesting, but think about it. Age of Empires 1 was launched before the 2000s, man.
Yeah,
Age of Empires 2 as well. Right? Exactly. Age of Empires 1, 997, and Age of Empires 2, 999. So
yeah.
we just had some trouble regarding the computers. I remember, for example, man, I'm from Brazil, it's a fucking third world country, and I remember having a lot of issues with internet. Having some better internet for us was something just so new. So many people didn't have access to it, to good internet. We just had to use our phone lines to connect to the internet, and no one would be able to use the phone lines, and we would fight the whole family because you either play Age of Empires or someone used the phone. There were a lot of limitations back then, technologically speaking, that were very funny, and nowadays it's so much easier. So much easier. It's very nice. Everyone has access, or at least most players actually have access to good connections, to equipment to play. If not Definitive Edition, at least you can go for Ruby and still have some quality matches there with your hardware. So it's quite nice. And of course, population 200.
Oh yeah. That's one thing I've been wondering about. As a European, I playing on the HD edition for most of the time. I was under the perception that it was mostly Europeans or North Americans who played Age of Empires, as with most games, right? But then I came to Woobly, and I realized, wow, there's way more players there, and it seems like almost everyone I face is from Latin America. So I was a bit surprised there. Like, why is it that Age of Empires 2 is so popular in Latin America, you think?
Man, honestly, I'm not even sure if it's just Latin America stuff. I think that the hardware stuff played a big part on that because, as I said, Age of Empires is a game from the 90s. So if you get a computer in 2005, it will just run Age of Empires very good. You could play in the maximum settings. You could play those games without crashing. And if you try to play some newer games, considering that computer parts are quite expensive here, since we do not manufacture most of them, and we have a lot of taxes, at least speaking for Brazil, most players didn't have the hardware to do it. For example, man, my computer wouldn't handle to play on HD very well until last December when I made some upgrades. So basically, I would play on Vubli, and I would hate to play every time I had to go for HD or that there was a fucking tournament on HD. I just lost half of my movements there. The game would just play like a fucking PowerPoint show, like a slideshow. So I think that this kind of explains it, but I honestly cannot answer that for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Age of Empires is something that's popular worldwide.
Yeah, it seems so. It's a whole new world opened up for me. So I forgot your introduction in the beginning of it. Some points there. Your name Stark. Where does it come from?
Well, it means strong in German or something. So I kind of like it how it sounded. Lately, we had a lot of references from our culture, like the Game of Thrones Starks, the Marvel Starks. We had a lot of stuff that bring that name, but no, it didn't come from that. Oh. I came with it before. Of course, we already had the Iron Man by then, but I didn't think about it when I chose the nickname.
Oh, I see. So when you see a T90 video featuring Stark, you, and then you see this little girl, how do you feel about that?
It's weird, man. T90 is funny.
Yeah.
I gladly have played in some of his events. It's very nice. I love when he hosts this kind of stuff. I loved even more when he hosted tournaments or events that had no sense at all. Like one time he hosted an event in the end of the year where we would play a 3-for-all game. So he didn't know, but there were like 3 things involved. There were a secret thing, so you had Tyrant by the time, a Doubt and Viper, and you had the other guys, ACCM and Bact, and the map that we are going to play, we would all migrate to a big island, and by the moment those guys migrate, they start building bases together. It was supposed to be a free-for-all, and those guys just start teaming in the middle of the stuff. So it was fucking funny, and he was so lost, like, what the fuck is happening? They're carrying the wood, and I don't remember that then. So, of course, T90 trolls us, but he's get trolled even more. Even by MBL. MBL is the biggest troll, man. I don't know how he can withstand MBL.
Yeah, just seems
but it's honestly a good feeling, man. It's very good too when I open YouTube and I see my nickname there in Mem's channel, in Neil's channel, or something like that. And I just type it and I found some tournaments from 5 or 6 years ago, and I say, oh my god, I was already getting killed by Viper back then. What the fuck? And it's so nice.
Yeah. Though there are rumors that you have a bat, and a friend of mine doesn't believe that it is true that you write the names of your opponents that you beat. Like
no, it's not true. It's not true that I do not have a bat. I actually have 2.
Oh.
So basically, I came up with the idea of adding the name of some opponents that I would beat on public to this bat here. So basically, I would play on Vubli, and every time I beat a 2K player, I would add this name to the bat. So I made a list like, okay, one day I beat this guy, one day I beat this guy. Some of those guys were 2K, some other were 2K4, 2K5. Some of those guys have improved a lot. Some of those I never heard about again. And of course, there are the famous names, so I pretty much enjoy it a lot. So if you take a look here, you're going to see a lot of names. I have a complete list here there on my channel. I have a sheet to keep it because I got tired of reading it. But there are some countrymen of yours here. Huh? There are 2 very known countrymen of you here as well. Huh? One of the first names that I added to this bat, this one's the one from Vubli. So this is the guys that I beat from Vubli. This one whom I recognize is MBL.
Yeah.
Viper's around here. Oh, it's here. I'm at St4rk. Don't mind my letterman. I'm often drunk when I do this, so sometimes the names don't appear so clearly. So that's the definitive edition one. That's the book. Sorry, that's the book one, and this is the definitive edition one. As you can see, it has very few names, man. I can even read those guys. The guys that I'm putting here are the ones that, when the moment that I played those guys, had more than 2k rate on 1v1. So that's the only rule I put for the bet. If I beat some guy that has more than a 2k rate, I'm going to add him to the bet. So I added here Mr. Dalt, Bacti, Vivi, Dogan, Say My Name, Deliz, Fire, Mr. Yo, and Miss Tong, or also called Jibatong. I have those names as well. There's plenty of space, and that's great because there are plenty of guys that I want to beat as well. So that's basically it. And every time I beat those guys, I just opens the camera, get my pen, and puts his name on the bat, and it's one more name. It's the list. It's just a funny stuff that I do. It's very helpful, man. Sometimes I just get this and I remember, okay, I can beat those fuckers, man. So before a tournament or before playing a hard opponent, I just look at that and say, I can do it. I can do it. I know that I can do it. I have done it before and I'm going to do it again. It's also a good motivation.
Yeah, it's a great motivational piece.
And if I lose, I can just strike someone with that shit. So
yeah, win-win.
It's very useful. It's quite useful too. Oops. Solve it. We'll just keep one here.
Yeah.
We'll just keep the definitive edition. And by the way, man, I feel like I'm going to add some name today.
Oh.
I totally feel that I'm going to add some name today.
And who do you think that will be?
There are two guys that I'm hunting to put here. First one that I'm hunting and I want to put here is Slan. He came back to play. I won 2 games against Slan already. But as I said, I strictly follow my rule, and he was not 2K yet. Now he's 2K1, so now he qualifies to the bet. He didn't before, and now that he qualifies, he won me 3 times, man.
Oh.
I'm not being able to beat him again, so he's winning 3-2 now. I had to add him, and I had to settle my score with Slan, so Slan is weighted here for the bet, and of course, I obviously want to add Viper here. Who doesn't? I added into the other one. Often I get lucky with some sieve or some setting. The day I added Viper, I had already lost like 3 games to him before, and it was only in the 4th attempt that I was able to add him. Some guards are tougher to get.
Yeah.
I have like the best sieve by the moment that was Slaps before the nerf,
against
and he had like the worst Vietnamese, exactly. So, and even so, I had some trouble. So that's a fucking beast. I had to add him.
Yeah, I actually have that clipped. That the moment that you beat the Viper. I thought maybe we could do a share screen right now and show it.
Oh my god!
So here
that would be nice.
Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah.
GG. You know, because I got back the wood. Man, fucking this, man. It's the Viper. It's a shame to almost lose against Vietnamese, but you have to consider that this guy plays very good. He does plays very good. But Viper is on the bat, man. Believe it or not. They has scam. In the 3rd attempt, Viper is on the bat. 3 attempts, that's okay. A good map and the best against
the worst needed,
but still on the bat.
Yes.
Let's see. He is.
It's a follow.
Oh, thanks for the follow. The Viper.
It's a follow.
To see the Viper with this terrible calligraphy. It was also a terrible game, but that's it, man. Viper is on the bat, guys. We fucking done it. Let's go for Leary now. Let's go for Leary.
Man, this guy's enter tournaments and he wins 3-0, 4-0 in the finals, things like that.
Fuck, man.
I have to register that, right?
Almost losing.
And I do this with every opponent that I put on the bets.
That's good. That's good. Man, it's not very fun to watch the Viper just wipe the floor at Hidden Cup.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, the finals.
I was watching Hidden Cup. I made some predictions, and I remember seeing the first round. I got half of the guys right, man, but I was pretty sure he was Saladin after round one. There was no doubt that he was Saladin.
Oh, yeah?
It's so easy to spot his style and things like that.
Oh.
He was throwing so hard.
And how would you describe his style?
Well, annoying at first, but mostly a very strategic one. When it comes to 1v1 and he's playing serious, he just wins by doing a very safe play. He does not allow his opponents to have big chances of turning the game, or he does not make a lot of risky moves. And he just likes to build small advantages along the game. So he can lure deer in the Dark Age, he can lame a villager of yours. Later on Feudal Age, he can lame a villager that's walling. He can pick a good fight, he can make an extra farm. He can have some walls or pick some fight, wait for you to do a mistake. He's just going to wait for you to do the mistake, and he's going to win you by slowly getting the advantage. So he can get a very good player like Hira or MBL and start getting small advantages over those guys, always playing safe. And of course, his game is very strategical. He's often not spending all his resources. I'm often like fighting and I'm desperate there, using all the gold I have, making knights, and I barely have resources to do anything. And when I look to Viper, he's like, okay, I have 3k gold in the bank, I'm waiting to see what my opponent's gonna do, then I'm gonna choose the unit. He plays very calm, and he manages his resources in a whole new level, and his decision making for sure is what makes him different from the others. That's why he's the best. I probably think that he would lose a micro war against Hira or against Leary, given the scenario for those guys to keep playing only with Frostwoman or something. I doubt that he would win those guys, but he's still way more solid when taking on the decisions. That's why he wins.
And who do you think would be best to take on the Viper?
Good question. There are a lot of players trying to take him down. As I said, I don't think the player to take him down will be someone doing it by auto-microing him or doing something like that. Therefore, I'm just going to risk Lyric and Hero from the list. Some guy that I think that's very, very smart playing, tries to do some different strategies and sometimes get Viper off guard is MBL. So I truly like how MBL's play. Another guy that I think that has some good chances is Mr. Yo. Once again, another player that I think that is very smart. Have you ever seen a clip of some of Mr. Yo's quick ball, or some of him, or him dodging a mangonel or something? I honestly don't remember seeing it ever. And still, he's one of those guys that is always there and is always dangerous. Even Viper said on his interview after Hidden Cup that he was he was the hardest opponent he faced during the tournament. He faced Mr. Yo in the quarterfinals, so he's truly someone to respect. And another guy, let's add the third name to the list, is Taro. Taro is also very smart, he's very strategical. He plays with different civs. He has a good understanding of the hybrid maps, water maps. He's especially good on these ones. So I would put him as well. So MBL, Mr. Yo, Taro, those are the guys that I think that have more chances of beating him. But of course, those guys might even die before to Hira or Libre, but I do not think Viper will. Unless they change their mindset or they game understanding to play in a more strategical way, they are probably not going to kill him.
Yeah, because I remember, I think it was Hidden Cup 2 in 2018, I think. And where we saw MBL beat the Viper 3-2 or something like that. It was I remember the Viper seemed very upset by this. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, I do not remember that one specifically, but they just played a show match one of these days. It's quite recent, and NBL won, man.
Oh.
I think that he won 4-3 or 4-2 or something. It was a show match hosted by men. They were playing like in mirrored maps. So whenever your wood is, your enemy's wood is down there as well. And the gold, the same thing for the gold. And they played that. And I believe that Viper was winning 2 or 3-0. And NBL actually managed to come back and won all the other games. So it's possible. It's a fucking show match. There was money involved. He didn't let NBL win. He never would want people to think that NBL is better than him or something. He obviously got killed by NBL back then, and that was quite a show that it's possible, man. It's not possible. Someone will eventually do it.
Yeah, because he plays a bit more risky and unorthodox. Like in contrast to the Viper, who's very safe, right?
Exactly, man. He's very annoying. His strategies are pretty crazy. I lose some games to NBL that I cannot believe sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, another example of what I was saying to defend my thesis that why those 3 players are closer to beating him. This week we had a show match. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or Wednesday between Hira and Mr. Yo. If you haven't watched it, watch out, guys. I'm going to spoil you. But basically, Mr. Yo won Europe 4-1. So we just say, come on, man. Hira went to the finals. He beat everyone. He's doing a great job. He's considered by many as the top 2 at the moment. How did he lose the show match 4-1? And in all the games, Yo had better strategies. As I said, no big Magma shots, no crazy micro of 5 Magma killing 10 Jonagers or something like that. Just good strategy. Of course, you still have a very high micro skill, but it was not what won the game for him. For the strategies, so smart play will always win.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's one of the beauty of the Age of Empires, man. Most of my opponents are much more skilled than I am. If you think about the game mechanics, managing an army, maybe even making their eco, but I actually can beat most of them by doing smarter strategies.
Yeah, Doubt is also, I think, a safe player, and I think he surprised most by how well he performed in the Hidden Cup and more recently in Definitive Edition, in contrast to Woobly. Like he was also very quick to adapt to Definitive Edition, and was for a long time on the top of the leaderboard on AoE2.net.
Yeah, when I started playing, like a lot of years ago, as I said, I already remember Doubt being around the top 5 players, and he was very dominant, man. I remember him and Elton Chris being way more dominant than Viper for quite some time. So it was even a surprise when the Viper came and thrown him, because I was so used to the Stout Dynasty.
Yeah.
If you were a bit more new to the game, if you just started to play Age of Empires in the last 6 or 7 years, your reference of top 1 is Viper. You always think about Viper. But for me, man, I get even more excited when I fight against Doubt and Viper, because he's the name that was in my head during much more time. He's the one that was to be beaten for much more time. And he had only one guy that would be a good rival. Only Chris would stand a chance against him. There were like no discussion who are the 2 best players. So it's Chris and it's Doubt, and for many times it was like that. We wouldn't discuss if it was Hero, it was Yo, it was Liray, who was going to get to the finals, and it was always those guys. Of course, often we would have some challengers, but when you look at the big tournaments, it was always those guys, and it's quite interesting to see. If you want to learn how to truly play Age of Empires, if you do not want to rely a lot on the micro, if you want to learn macro, if you want to learn some booming, Dal's a great player for you to observe. He has all the basics. Just do not follow his castles.
Yeah, those are quite infamous.
Yeah. This is the kind of move that I was telling that you were not going to see Viper making often. these risky moves.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
That's probably the perfect example of something that on the decision making that is making the difference between Doubt getting the wins right now and Viper. It's even a meme, you know, right now.
Yeah, Doubt is kind of like the Gary Kasparov of Age of Empires, while the Viper is the Magnus Carlsen.
Probably that.
So currently you are quite high on the leaderboard yourself.
Yeah,
Let's see.
unfortunately I dropped it a lot yesterday, but I'm still a bit high. I dropped it very... I think I lost like 3 or 4 games on 1v1 yesterday. I lost to Slam, I lost to Mekti. I didn't have some great night, but I'm still figuring out on the top there. 18, top 20, it's not bad.
Yeah, because I remember yesterday you were actually above the max.
I was very close to the top 10. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I got dropped.
Were you top 12 yesterday?
Something like that.
Yeah, because you reached 2K 139, right?
Exactly that.
So Definitive Edition has been very good to you, you can say.
I think so. It helped me to renew my love for the game, and I was able to play a bit more. As I said, my computer wouldn't handle it, so I made something that I should have done a long time ago. I changed my setup to be able to play in a more competitive setting. So now my computer can actually handle the game. I can enjoy it a lot more. I like the new features. A lot of old friends are back to the game. So I had a lot of things that helped me to come back to Definitive Edition. And I'm trying to get back to the tournaments. So right now, I think that the game is very competitive. If you take a look on this first page of the top of the ratings, man, all of those guys, they are fucking strong. I remember in the past on Woobly that I would probably look to the Woobly and said, okay, for the top 10, those are the guys that can kill me. Above that, I'm not going to die to those guys. But when I look to this list, I say, oh my god, I can die to any of those guys. I just need to do a bad step and I'm dead. I cannot blink an eye against those guys.
Yeah, some very solid players there.
I would say that I could probably lose in a tournament against any top 50 player right now, and it wouldn't be a surprise to me. Who's the 51? Let me know who I cannot lose to.
Yeah,
oh, fuck! Did it say my name?
Yeah.
Let's put top 50. top 60, huh?
Okay.
Let's not complicate myself.
Yeah, okay. You can't beat to... you can't lose to Nili then, just yet.
Okay. I will try not losing to Nili. This will be my goal then.
Yeah. Sounds good. So, what other tournaments are you partaking in right now?
Ooh, good question. I'm actually preparing to play Battle of Africa 2. I didn't play the first Battle of Africa. I wasn't that motivated, not playing a lot in some competitive teams. And now I'm very active, so I just went to search for something. I didn't want to play with some new guys or someone that I haven't played before. I would already like to play with someone that I already know, that I already understand how those guys think. And I ended up teaming up with the Brazilian guys, Goku and Fire, and also Dunga, our fourth player. So we played a lot of tournaments in the past, man. We played one Nations Cup where we reached the second place. We only lost to the Chinese guys, huh?
Oh, wait. Didn't you also win first place?
Yeah,
that's in Nation Cups. Nation Cup, right?
Yeah. In Nations Cup 2014, we reached second place, I believe. In 2015, I just played the initial phases, but we ended up losing and just got in the top 5 or something with Brazil A. And then in the 2017, I actually played with Dogão, Miguel, and Fiage. We actually won against the Finland guys, which was quite nice, man. And Finland was such a surprise. On the start of the tournament, people were pointing out the 2 Chinese teams as favorites, and both got beaten by Finland. So they just made our way a bit easier by killing all the Chinese guys.
Yeah, so you won first place in 2017, right?
Exactly, man. It was so fun. We even went to China to play those games, man.
Yeah, you
We
beat
played LAN against
Finland
those
and
guys.
China. Very strong
Exactly.
teams. Like, yeah, we see these are very dominant teams that face off against not Tyrant but Secret and AM. Aren't you also in a team like wait, are you Heresy?
No. Right now, just so we can know, from this very list that we're looking, both Dogão and Miguel, who were in the team, they are playing for Heresy. So they're playing together with Lan. On Battle of Africa, they will make a team of 3. It will be Dogão, Miguel, and Mr. Lan, the Spanish player. I will be playing with Goku and Fire. If you just go to the 4th place there, you're going to see 5 players from Brazil as well. You have Alive, it's not playing currently, only on Fubli. Brew, I'm not sure how if he's playing or not. Then you have Root, who is often playing, but not playing more competitive. And the ones that still more active there are Fire and Goku, and I ended up teaming with those guys.
Oh, I see. Riot is also one of the guys that has recently came back to Age of Empires, right?
Yeah, man, I played some games against him this week, some team games.
And how did that go?
Well, I walled all his golds. I just walled all his golds and said, okay, Thor, your time now. Shoot the guys. Root's not gonna annoy you.
So pretty
So
dominant.
it went good, but he's very talented. He's one of those guys that if he wants to come back and practice for 1 week, he's already ready to play competitive settings against much higher names. He's very talented.
So, what do you think about Nations Cup? Do you think there will be a Nation Cups for 2020?
Man, I truly don't know. But people started to talk about making the Nations Cup, and then people started to say, all right, but you should do the Nations Cup on Bubli because most players or most countries will not have all their players with access to Definitive Edition, do hardware or something. So they just said that, and people were saying, okay, we're not going to do it on Definitive Edition. But now every tournament is playing in Definitive Edition. Everyone who's playing more competitive is doing so in Definitive Edition. And I'm not sure. They're probably waiting to see if more people will join Definitive, if they are going to adapt some way of playing the Definitive Edition settings on Google or something. There might be a chance of doing a Nations Cup this year, but I'm not strongly believer. I do not strongly believe in that. I think that it would be more wise to drop it to the next year. We're already having a lot of events. Let's the game mature a bit, and we can see if we have enough teams to make a Nations Cup, and we will, of course, will have more clarity if you are going to do a more inclusive tournament using Vubli or something, or if we're going to go for a more competitive setting, going for DE. But of course, we know that most players won't be able to take part in that one. Quite an interesting thought. But honestly, I wanted so badly to have a Nations Cup to play.
Yeah, me too. I've been waiting for it for a little while now.
When you think about Nations Cup, Brazil is very strong. We always have some good chance of taking it.
Yeah, because you're a very good. You have very many good Brazilian players. Unlike, for example, my own country, Norway, we only have 2 super good players, which is obviously Viper and MBL, and then the rest kind of lag a bit behind.
I agree. You often suffer on those settings.
Yeah.
There was another Norway player. He's not active at the moment. His name is Slaven. It's very good. I remember it was 2K on Google. He could be like a great third one because he was very good on team game. We played some tournaments. I played some timing for a team for Buzz. I played with some countrymen of yours. Buzz Battery, Buzz Latin, Buzz the Viper. You probably know that one. And I remember we were playing and we won some tournament. I think it was AoC League or something.
Sorry, what do you call him? Buzz
Battery, Buzz Sladen.
Sladden?
Let me try to type it.
Okay.
I might be saying it in the wrong way. This guy.
Ah, Slatten. We say it in Norwegian. I see.
I remember playing a lot of good games against him. He's a good player.
Okay.
So Norway has to bring back their old legends or bring up some new talents if they want to compete because they already have two of the best players in the world. Man.
Yeah. I got some pressure on my shoulders there already.
It's easy, man. You just have to carry that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you think about Nations Cup, man, you are going to see Brazil had two teams in the top four. We are going to be obviously a competitive country whenever we have some setting like this.
Yeah, that is clear.
Unfortunately, we cannot stand each other, so it's very hard for us to keep a team outside of those tournaments.
Yeah,
we can stand each other for like 3 months. That's the maximum that we can play.
Yeah, it's between the two Brazilian teams, Finland and China, in top four, right?
Exactly. We had Brazil B as the first one, then Finland, then China, one of the China teams, and then Brazil A as right after in the fourth place. To be honest, Brazil A even surprised me with the fourth placement. I wouldn't have put them on the top four on this Nations Cup. When I was making some analysis of the teams, I was expecting much more from China A, for example. And they unfortunately didn't even reach the top four. It was the team of Mr. Yo, Paladin. There's no way this is a weak team, right? Leaks. You had arguably top one on China, that was Mr. Yo. Top three, that was Leaks. Paladin, one of the best gamers from China, so I would never expect them to be even behind China B, man. I would bet on China A every time, and they even lost to China B, so something happens during tournaments. Sometimes the things that we might think that are obvious do not happen as we expect.
Yeah, there are certain situations like that with the Finnish players too, like we saw in Nida's Apartment Cup 3. So,
exactly.
So what do you think about the potential in Argentina and Germany?
Quite a good question. Are we talking about Viper going to Germany?
Yeah, no. I've heard that.
Sorry, man.
I heard that he
I was kidding. He's not gonna do it. Sorry. It was just messing with you. Okay. So I think that Germany has always signed up some strong things. Their basis is always the new charter team, the NC. By the way, I was just watching a live game between German and UKA. They're playing some kind of Euro Cup. I heard about it. And you had Neely, you had other German guys playing together. So, of course, there's some potential. But I honestly feel like they had received a hard blow not having Jordan there. I do not think the German can go for the 10 game and much higher than top 8 when they try to play in the Nations Cup. Oh, that's it. Euro Rumble. Oh, exactly that. By the way, I didn't even knew that we had some players from UK. I'm very honest with you. I didn't knew those guys. I was watching the game today, and they are quite good, man. Quite good players. I saw some guy called State Master, and I love his nickname. I wish I was State Master. Damn it. He was faster than me. I would truly trade State Master for a start if he wants to.
Well, I'm sure he would be happy to.
These Hollis guy decks, Carlini Crouch, There's one guy that I'm not seeing there, but he played today, Nick. He played for Nadia's boys, something before, so I saw him playing as well. Those teams are quite interesting to watch. Very interesting. I don't understand USA or Australia in the Zero Rumble. Fuckers, man. Those Europeans know nothing about geography, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is a very good tournament to see, and I think that this is very good. When you make a tournament like this, all the guys that are playing in this tournament, they are getting more knowledge about the game. They are getting to know each other better. They're going to get used to each other. They're going to lose. They're going to remember the games that they lose. They're going to learn with them. They're going to be much more solid for Nations Cup. So it's, as I said, it's very hard to say. I wouldn't put, for example, German with Nili, Studio, and the other guys going for a top 8 on Nations Cup, but they can always surprise, man. They can always surprise.
Yeah, it's also fun to see the Swedish team here. I see
Swedish. Oh, fucking Genji, man. Fucking stacker.
Yeah.
I just played twice against Genji's team today. In the 2 team games, by the moment I died, my base looked like a fucking rainbow because there were like 4 guys attacking me at the same time. He currently has a very competitive team that he's stacking with. That he's playing with. Kamigawa and some other guys. For example, Kamigawa is the first one that came to my mind. But I think that he can surely play with some other Swedish guys and push those guys to be a more competitive team. But I'm more honestly expecting to see how he will perform in some team tournament, like Battle of Africa. Will Genji play with Kamigawa and the others? Are they going to represent some team, some tag or something? This would be very interesting.
Wait, where is Kamigawa from?
Kamigawa is from Italy.
Yeah, I watched you play him in the Visible Cup.
Yeah, we just played like 2 days ago.
Yeah, and now you'll be facing, let's see, Angelina Jolie, right?
Exactly, man. It was between Angelina Jolie and Ink. I didn't watch the games. How much it was? 3-0?
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, man. I'm gonna face AJ right now.
And how do you feel about facing Angelina Jolie, knowing that she or him, I don't know, won 3-0?
Well, I honestly not so surprised. In those series, man, a 3-0 might not reflect how tough the series was. I have watched a series of going like 3-0 for some player or the other, but all 3 games ending in the pure rage or playing very hard. I need to watch how he's going to play. I need to see what maps he's picking, what strategies he's doing. Since I have played the qualifiers of Britain Cup, I'm quite familiar with the maps. So I already have some strategies. I already have some seeds that I know that work for each setting. So I'm quite comfortable to play. Of course, as I said, if you search for Angelina Jolie there, he'll probably be on the top 50. So don't be surprised if I lose. I won't, to be honest.
Yeah, let's see.
He's probably around there. Or not.
Yeah, 39.
See? That's trouble.
Yeah.
So this guy, for example, I believe that might beat me on the tournament or not, but I'll surely prepare some map. I'll try to do something. I'll play my best, and I will just hope to pass him, to get past him. Kamigawa was already a strong opponent, man. On the Red Bull qualifiers of last week, Kamigawa and Nikov went toe-to-toe, man. They were actually going 2-4 each, and the decider game was for Nikov's. But Kamigawa almost did it to the finals of the qualifiers to attack fire. So he can just compete with some guy like Nikov. He's not something bad. And I just beat this guy. So, as I said, it's very competitive nowadays. Some guy that I beat was competing with Nikov, almost beating him. Now I'm going to play with AJ, who can possibly win this tournament. He's one of the favorites as well. It's a very competitive game. To be very honest, as much as I can be confident, I wouldn't try to guess a score.
I see. Yeah.
I'm looking forward for that.
And when will you be playing against AJ?
Good question. I need to schedule.
So
I haven't scheduled yet. Probably sometime next week. This weekend we have the qualifiers of Red Bull. They're going to take a lot of time. I hope if I do not lose in the first round, it's going to take a lot of time. So I'm expecting and look forward for it. I will probably try to schedule it for some weekend because next week I come back to work. So I'll be much more tired during the weekdays. It will be hard to come home at night after a day of work and try to play. I probably won't be in my best shape. Huh?
No, I see.
And I won't have enough beer in my blood, so it will be hard. In the weekends, well, I can probably do it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be watching. I'll check the comments now. Maybe we.
Good.
Okay, Niklas Teges says, "Ja, Deutsch." And Gion says, "Nubururush." I can't remember what that is.
Double Rush. I think that is a reference to the Inca villager rush that Naburu executed. There's this Japanese player, Naburu, and he got some strategy that was quite meme strat-like. You use your villagers to rush at Incas. You upgrade their armor, they become very strong. You can most likely kill every melee unit with your villagers. Scouts die to your villagers. Spearmen die as well. Even men-at-arms die to the villagers. But he perfected this strategy. He practiced it a lot, and he would send a lot of views forward. And what we think that was a fucking meme strat was quite effective. And Hero even used this to beat Taro in the semifinals of Hidden Cup. So the Bull Rush is nice and it works.
Yeah, I've seen it even at the lower level. It works quite effectively.
It's hard to counter, man. If you get desperate, you are not lost. And you are not often expecting to see some guy coming with 15 villagers to fight in your base. So.
And what do you think is the best counter to a Nuburu Rush?
To a Nuburu Rush? Okay, yeah. First thing, you need to get like 5 archers with fletching, and you won the game against him. And the problem is, how are you going to get 5 archers if you have to make the investment into the barracks, into the archer range, you have to get the gold, you have to make the blacksmith. By the time you do those things, the Inca already will have towered all your golds, all your woods, he will be fighting your views. So the best way for you to win is to buy time and try to counter him with archers. Move your wood, make some walls, make some towers and walls that he cannot reach with his builds, block his path, do not let him advance. If you have back resources, it will be great. If you do not have, then you are a bit fucked. But just do it. If you can block his advance enough to do 5 archers with fletching, you can win the game. That's the counter. Sounds simple, but try to do it.
So you'd prefer that over going for a drush?
For sure. I think that the drush would be actually good for the rusher. You could actually spot his builds, but even if you had like 5 militia drush on the middle of the map, the guy would still have like 10 builds coming to you. You wouldn't be able to engage and win the fight against all those builds. And once he does the armor, your militia are nothing to him. You're just going to tank your militia. I tried scouts once, it was a terrible idea. I'm very convinced that what you need to do right now is to use the archers.
Yeah, that makes sense then. And Giesuen Gion says again, Hedda really struggles when the game turns messy, which Yo specializes in and exploit to the max.
I agree. He can adapt very well to those situations. He can play very well. I just watched the team game today as well. I was watching games today, but I didn't play it. I watched it like 3 games in the afternoon, spectating. It was a team game, and they just managed to kill Mr. Yo, man. Viper and MBL were in the same team, and they went for melee, elephants, and cave archers. They killed all the town centers of Mr. Yo. So at minute like 25, Yo was running with like 20 builds, and he was dead. Just 30 clock, like 30 minutes, and Mr. Yo was the guy with more views, and he was killing MBL and Viper using Rapid Scorpions. So the guy who was dead just turned on the situation by rebooming, by making it back to the game. So even when he dies, he's a dangerous player. Your counterman died to Mr. Yo today. That was a specific case where he died, but every messy games like someone doing some Naburu rush or something, Yo would probably take it very well. He has good decision making, good reactions, and he won't trust in his 5 archers, but into getting 10 of them, and he's probably going to win, isn't that?
Yeah, he's a very calm and controlled player. Leo Rising says, love Stark's personality. He's so entertaining.
Thanks, man.
Interviewer is mad boring though.
Those are probably my viewers, man. Thanks, boys. Man, if you cannot take an offense, you shouldn't go to my chat.
Well, that's fine with me. Yes, Unigion says again, references to Yo, giving Viper a hard time. 11.
Yeah, man. He did. I think that what the best game of the tournament, in my opinion, was one between Viper and Yo. It was a high tide map. If I'm not mistaken, it was Persian versus Japanese or Japanese war. I think it was a Japanese war. And man, I thought that Viper was dead, and Yo truly gave him a run. I thought that he was winning the game so hard, and Viper was able to come back. Eventually, he won, but still, what the fuck is this gay shit, man? Okay, so basically, it was the best game. Just joking, man. I mean, Mr. Yo is truly one of the best players, man. And as I said, I think that he came closer to beat Viper and Hidden Cup than the others. Dogon took a game from him, took an Iceland play in an excellent way, but Dogon has always picked Iceland as his home map, and he does this like since 2005. He's a very experienced player in water. He just had to adapt to the new meta. And Hira, unfortunately, didn't stand the chance against Viper in the finals. No. But if you take a look on the series between Yo and Viper, you would probably be guessing who are going to win. You cannot have it all right after the UC Game 2, after UC Game 3. Game 1 was a bit more one-sided, but the others, you couldn't tell who was going to win.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, that was it for the comments. And do you have any anything you'd like to add?
Nope.
Well, then that concludes our interview. Thank you very much for taking in it and for waiting for my new bass. Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Sorry, what did I say?
Thank you a lot for the interview, man. It was a pleasure.
You too. It was an honor to have you. I hope the viewers enjoyed seeing you and hearing from you. GG.
GG.